So, hello everyone, good morning. This is Edgar Valverde, Senior Innovation Consultant at P&O Innovation Team in Spain. But today I'm representing BEEYONDERS as the leader of the exploitation activities within the project. BEEYONDERS started a couple years ago, back in June 2022, as other projects that are being presented today together in the part of the Tech4EU construction cluster, and it's coordinated by Acciona Construcción, a Spanish large company, and counts on the participation of 21 partners and 2 affiliated entities that are helping to bring these technologies for workers' safety, well-being, and digitalization and sustainability of the construction sector. Bringing an opportunity for the construction sector to become more sustainable, more competitive, taking advantage of state-of-the-art solutions that we are bringing from TRL4 to TRL6 as we just presented. In case that you are interested on learning more about the consortium, I'll be pleased on sharing more details on who is who and who is doing what. But focusing about the project, the objectives that we as a project entail are covering aspects like, as I said before, efficiency, safety, well-being, but especially the sovereignty of EU technology in the construction sector. It's also very important for us to mention that we are engaging in cooperation with Japan so that we can collaborate with them on learning from their progresses in digitalization of the construction sector. This is something that is ongoing, and one of the use cases of the project is actively contributing to this cooperation, that it's being challenging, yet very much of interest for us. The 6 technologies that are being further developed within the BEEYONDERS project and that we are deploying across our different study cases are the autonomous teleoperated ground and aerial vehicles, additive manufacturing, wearables and devices, exoskeletons, digital twins, of course, one of the main elements we are speaking about today, and the human-robot collaboration. As I said before, and I'll very briefly introduce the different study cases of BEEYONDERS. These solutions are distributed across 6 real-life scenarios in order to test them. The impacts that we expect to achieve are improving the efficiency in resources, reducing waste and CO2 emission, and increase the independence of imported technologies. Few indicators of what we are looking for. But especially, and I think that something that may be relevant for you is to acknowledge what are the pilot sites, the case studies that we have across Europe, and how technologies are distributed in all of them. The first of our case studies takes place in León, in Spain, where we are testing autonomous teleoperated vehicles in order to understand how we can maximize the productivity in the construction sites while not affecting the construction safety and their working conditions. We are also working with autonomous vehicles and the digital twins for road construction in Italy. We have a very interesting large-scale case in maritime construction where we are exploring novel ways to optimize the additive manufacturing of caissons and reefs that at the same time contribute to biodiversity in these maritime environments. As mentioned before, our case in the Port of Rotterdam embraces the collaboration with Japan in order to explore the efficiency of pile machinery processes. The 4th one will work on autonomous robotics for road maintenance, and the 6th one will support the workers' well-being in the built environment. The main reason for my personal interest being here today was to present. We are around the second half, or we are right in the middle of the second half of the project. So for me personally, leading exploitation activities, it was very interesting to present what we are doing as part of the exploitation activities, because as you can see here, we have one particular challenge, that is this single entry point for digital construction ecosystem, and I'm here presenting what we envision as this single window for the digitalization of the construction system, inviting all of you to provide your ideas and participate in a discussion for creating such an environment. In any case, of course, this is let's say a comprehensive pathways. We develop a market analysis, we are developing our conventional exploitation strategies for the result, but this single entry point for digital construction is something that we cannot develop on our own as a project, so we are bringing this idea here today in order to be able to collaborate, work together, and join forces to develop something like this. Of course, we want to avoid creating a standalone environment, but we, as a project, have the commitment to define, imagine how this single window for the digital construction will look like. This single window would become a hub for all actors in the value chain of the construction ecosystem, acknowledging what are the possibilities, what are the different services available, what are the different elements that, that can help them on being digital, on being sustainable, and at the end contributing to the overall sustainability of the construction sector. That includes, of course, all the elements that are being developed within the BEEYONDERS project, but also can include all the results from the sister projects and other projects that are related to the sector. I'm including here some of the elements that we are considering right now. As I said, we imagine this single entry point for digital construction as a catalog of products, of services, of different elements that can contribute to the digitalization of the construction sector. But as I said, not restricted to BEEYONDERS, but open to other projects that would be interested on contributing to establishing this initiative and this collaborative environment. We have defined, together with our partners, what would be the value proposition of an environment like the one we are envisioning, and as you can see here, there are different, there are a lot of possibilities that stakeholders would be able to perceive in order to adopt or be attracted, being interested on something like this. Wrapping up, what are the challenges that we have for imagining something like this as a project is that, of course, we need alliances. This is why we are here. This is why we are presenting this concept here today, together with the other projects and with all the people attending this presentation. And once we are able to create all these alliances, once we are able to enable or establish relationships that help us creating this contact point for the digital construction, be able to define strategies and sustainability models, because we have our own ideas, of course, but we would like this process to be collaborative. We would like to open this process to other projects, initiatives, networks that may be interested on participating in something like this, and we will be very much interested on overcoming the challenges altogether. And this is it about BEEYONDERS. I'll be more than happy to respond any questions or comments about the project. There are some colleagues here from the consortium, so if there are any more technical questions, I hope that they can help me on them. But if you have any question about the project, feel free to reach out.
I think for questions we're going to do later in the panel discussion, so keep them in mind. So for later.
Great, thanks a lot.
So coming up next is Jason Rambach from the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence, and he's representing HumanTech. Yeah, so we have to set up the presentation. So yes, please think about those questions, and later in the panel discussion we will have a lot of time, so don't worry.
So
I think
we have to download them.
yeah, up there maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So it's
No.
refusing to download.
Okay, there.
Okay, 2 times. Okay. So thanks a lot. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm happy to be here today to present the project HumanTech. So I'm Jason Rambach from DFKI in Germany, in Kaiserslautern. So why are we doing HumanTech anyway? So our mission is pretty much similar to the other projects of the same call, our sister projects. We want to increase the safety and well-being of the construction workforce, improve productivity, and move towards becoming greener, making more efficient use of resources. So how we address this, we do that in different ways in the project. So here you can see some results. So the project is already quite advanced. We are headed towards the end of it in May 2025. So we already have some results. Here are some examples. On the left, our work on wearables that can be used to support construction workers by localizing them and also tracking the position of their body, their body pose. On the right, our work on a support robot for construction workers, an example of supporting in building a wall by grasping bricks and handing them over. But for today, the selected topic that I want to talk about a bit more is our scan-to-BIM pipeline. So what is scan-to-BIM? Scan-to-BIM is going from what is seen on the left to what you see on the right. So on the left, you have what you get from a scan, basically, which is an unordered 3D point cloud that, okay, let's face it, it doesn't give that much information. On the right is the BIM file. So it's an IFC format file that is more structured, that contains more information. You can expand it to contain information on material. Also, it can be used, it can be integrated in any construction, BIM-based construction process, basically. So this pipeline consists of several steps. One of the most important ones, the first step, is semantic segmentation. Here, we use an AI model for that. The challenge here is the absence of enough data to train such a model. So there are point cloud data, but there are not really a lot of data from construction sites, so that's something we are trying to overcome. Then after doing the semantic segmentation, there are several other steps like clustering this point cloud and fitting some primitives to the points. In the end, there are some final steps that need to be done, that is closing walls and merging some walls that are not continuous because of defects of the original scan, basically. Where are we today with the pipeline? So we have participated for 2 years in the CV4AC Scan-to-BIM challenge at the CVPR conference, and we have been at 3rd place 2 times. We are constantly improving our AI segmentation model. What we need for that is basically data, as I said. So we also try to look into other techniques like self-supervision and so on to work with less data. We are trying to support more object classes. So right now we have the basic classes that are things like windows, walls, floor, doors, and so on. But we want to extend to more functionalities, more classes. Finally, we are currently exploring different use cases for the scan to BIM. Yes, and that is something that we are always happy to hear input from other experts on. For the HumanTech project, if you would like to know more, well, we are a very large project of 22 organizations from 10 different countries. Among them 7 research institutes, 9 innovative SMEs and large enterprises, 5 construction groups, and the construction SME representative. You can see the full list of partners below. Yes, you can follow the website for any news on the project. You can also follow us on different social media here to get the latest news. So yeah, that's all from my side. It was faster than I thought, but okay.
Thank you, Jason. Coming up next is Feitsma from INCUBE, representing INCUBE, and he's from Van Wienen organization.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Douwe Feitsma. I work at Van Wienen, and I'm standing here on behalf of the project INCUBE. First off, Van Wienen is a Dutch construction company with over 100 years of experience. And we mainly focus on project development, residential construction. And I say this because the examples in this presentation are a little bit more pragmatic, to say so. The INCUBE project itself also has a large software part of it, but as Van Wienen, we are a construction company, so we are involved in the execution of all the innovations we are developing right here. So keep that in the back of your mind. First off, what is INCUBE? INCUBE is we aim to it's a collaboration of 23 companies throughout 7 countries in Europe. We aim to unlock the renovation wave, and in the there are a lot of buildings to be renovated throughout Europe, and if we can find some tangible innovations, that this would greatly benefit this renovation wave. The project itself goes from 2022 to 2026, so 4 years. We're halfway through. And halfway through is also a moment in which we can show some innovations we have already tested and some progress we have already made. So I'll show some examples of this. The problem itself, we encountered, and also this also happens at Van Wienen, we got to be honest, the low rates of productivity, poor or no integration of solutions. It's a very conservative sector. Also the limited use of the building information. There's a lot of data to be gathered in the process of building the building, but also in the operation phase, but this information is simply not used. And it's highly complex and project oriented, so information gathered in one project is not used in another project. So we aim to tackle all of these aspects by developing innovations for to counter these problems, and we aim to do that in to gather information, use digitalization, industrialization, and all keeping in mind the sustainable development goals. For the key expected outcomes, we drastically want to reduce waste, and especially the top 3 are very close to our hearts at Van Wienen. We want to reduce waste, renovation costs itself, working time with hazardous activities, so improve the worker safety. And then in the operation phase, we want, of course, the new demo sites to reduce, increase the energy savings, create renewable energy communities, and reduce the exhaust of greenhouse gases. We want to do so by making buildings more energy efficient, using renewable energy sources, and using smart and digital technologies, so that in turn it can have a higher building performance. And we want to do this in a cost-effective manner. We have 4 pillars of innovation, which is the industrialization of building aspects, digitalization, new market technologies, new technologies and materials, and new market entrants. And these 4 all culminate into one digital INCUBE suite, which is a software that helps gather all this information of these 4 innovation pillars and provides you information for decision making in the process of your construction project. Then some tangible innovations we've already done on our sides. Machine-human collaboration. We first want to emphasize the robotization we are looking at. We have deployed a demolition robot, but the innovative part here is that we've established a BIM connection, and building information modeling is the 3D environment with all the information. Everybody can collaborate. So also this demolition partner. This demolition partner could see the BIM model itself in real time. And I think I've got some pictures of that as well. So on an iPad, he was able to see the BIM model, so he knew exactly what to demolish, what not to demolish. And then in real time, he was able to delete these walls, so everybody on the in the office could see the progress of this. There were some challenges, which is the weight and the size of the robot. Our demo site in Groningen, in the Netherlands, is built in the 1960s, so the floors were very thin, so it could not always be deployed on every floor. So that's something for further research. Then looking ahead, the optimal deployment, it was very narrow. So the optimal deployment we saw is just in open spaces. In tight areas, it was difficult to use. And if we increase the level of detail in the BIM model, the operator said he could benefit from it more. So he knew exactly where the pipes go and where the cables are going. Next off, we have a drilling robot. Similarly, we established a BIM connection for this as well in collaboration with Hilti. We have prepared everything in BIM, and then we send all the data to the robot, and this robot basically conducted all the drilling and anchoring in the building autonomously. This worked very well. The outcomes was an increased execution speed and an increased health and safety for the workers, because there was no drilling holes above your head anymore. So it was very safer. We also tap into Scan to BIM on our project. It's interesting to see earlier projects doing this as well. We have done this in the Netherlands and in the Spanish demo site as well. Here you see a point cloud of the Spanish demo site, and then for the Dutch demo site, we have taken off the facade of the building, and we extend the facade with a steel structure, and then we put on new prefab facade elements. But when we took off the facade, we scanned it all in with a UAV with a drone and a photogrammetry scanner. This drone gave us very good insights in the actual deviations in the building, because the building itself has some blueprints, but that was from the 1960s, so these were quite off, we found. And we made a point cloud out of this, and this point cloud gave us an indication of where the deviations were, and we handed these to the work preparation side of our company, and we found some deviations which they actually helped in developing this renovation, the renovation and the steel structure, for example. Looking ahead, it would be highly beneficial if there's even more detailed point cloud, we would say, because this would only give us an indication, but it was not enough for actual production. Then on the Italian demo side, RINA develops the resilience dashboard. Resilience dashboard takes into account all dynamic aspects on the construction site, such as worker safety, environmental monitoring, site logistics, and the waste management, using sensors and models. This is all being put into one dashboard, which could be used for, I think, for example, for in a construction company, when having the demo site or just any construction project. If you measure the workers management and the environmental waste management, you have a dynamic view of this demo site, and this could be also presented in actual dashboards, which helps you making decisions. So here you have, for example, the use of the PPE, personal protective equipment for workers, using sensors. Here the noise levels on the construction site, and here it's a decision tool for either selective or non-selective demolition. RINA is also here present, so questions could be asked to them later. Then our last part is streamlining innovative materials. As said, we want to use sustainable and new materials as well. And we do this by collaborating with the Dutch partner using prefabrication, Dutch partner Webo. As explained, we take off the facade. This is the BIM model of it after the facade has been taken off. And then we to avoid scaffolding, because scaffolding on a 10-story building is quite dangerous, we want to apply facade elements prefab on site. These elements are expanding the available space through the steel structure, and it has integrated PV panels. So we optimally use the facade surface. How it goes in practice is that we have taken off the facade, steel structure is being built around it, new floors are being put in, the facade elements are just attached like Legos, basically being all pre-produced in a plant earlier. It's a timber frame facade element, and it's all done through BIM on the outside, and then on the inside this is how it looks and how it connects to the steel structure. It was difficult because it was a timber frame facade element using bio-based insulation materials, so fire testing is always difficult to obtain. And the expected outcomes, they are being put on in 2 months. So the expected outcomes here are a reduction of working time, because it just, like I said, attached as Legos, and the reduction of working time with hazardous materials because no scaffolding is needed anymore. Similar facade elements are being developed in the Spanish demo site as well. So we are eager to see what happens over there as well. This was just a small insight in everything we did from a pragmatic standpoint. And this is all the partners that are involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Douwe. And now coming up next, we have Andre van Delft from representing Reincarnate project, and he's from Demo Consultants. And yeah, I think.
I just wanted to invite you guys. There's seats available.
Yes, we're going to take those chairs and bring them back. So either or.
Yeah. First,
Let's find the presentation.
What's going on with the screen?
I lost you. Could you just I think it's locked out, eh?
At least we are now seeing the screen again.
Hey, have you managed to download your presentation? No, okay.
Which one?
So Reincarnate. No. Much appreciated.
It takes very finally download. It's taking its time. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much.
No, you won't.
Good morning again. And like I said, it was not a joke. You're really invited to sit next to me, but you might run into risk to be asked questions as well. So I'll leave it up to you. But it's good to see you all here. Reincarnate. It maybe sounds a bit mystical, a bit philosophical. To be honest, that's what we do always on the end of the GA during the dinner and the drinks after it. But now I'm going to present some figures and facts for you. And let me start by introducing the project for those who do not know it yet. This is, by the way, not intended as a comprehensive presentation, but please consider it like something like a trailer or a teaser that you see on Netflix. Just give you a brief overview, and I'll invite you, if you're interested, either to talk to me or my colleagues, or go to the beautiful website that we have. Because this project, our mission is, there are some similarities with the presentation that we have seen before this morning, but in a sense it's different because this fully aims at circular economy. So really not only recycling, but if you are able to extend a lifetime, then you really do not have to recycle. So that is the first profit that you can have. So it is actually based on three pillars, you could say. Either reusing it, extending lifetime, and then, if not possible, recycle. And that's the entire philosophy of Reincarnate. Who is Reincarnate? We're all together with 16 partners. Especially, I won't show them all, but one in particular, Theo Berlin. For those who do know him, Timo Hartman. Professor is coordinating together with us, with myself and the team from DEMO. We are the technical coordinator. Next to us, we really have a great selection, I would say, of different companies. Like, of course, the research institutes, but also some companies specialized in the real estate, architect, construction. Not the least important, a company from Sweden, Reincarnate, completely specialized in waste management, and here ourselves with some other companies specialized in IT. So what are we aiming? What are the objectives? Again, mainly three pillars. Like I said, what we try to do is, and here it is placed in the middle, the limited average lifespan. It has been researched that the average lifespan is only 39 years, and however our German partner said it's even less, 25 to 30 in Germany. So that's quite simple, you could say. If we could extend that, then we are already solved a lot of things. But also, if we are going to construct or demolish something, there's a lot of waste, and it is the largest waste stream in the European Union. So there's also an ambition to reduce that. And if there's such a large stream, that wouldn't be that bad if you could reuse it, but that's not the case either. So there's a lot of factors that are causing a lot of problems, a lot of waste, a lot of unused potential, because one of the partners said as well, waste is material that you can use, but without information. So, and if you take that approach, all of a sudden you see a lot of potential in it. So what is our approach in Reincarnate? We have 10 innovations, and I will show very briefly some of them to you. And we have 11 demonstrators, so demonstration cases where we are really applying those innovations, and everything is, I would say, facilitated by this one CPIM, and that is shown here as well. That is the Circular Potential Information Model or Management System. It is too small to read, but like I said, it's more intended as a teaser. So here on the top, for example, we do see some innovations that we're using for the building inspection. And also the presenters just before me, they've showed all kind of innovative, like scanning, scan to BIM, etc. Those are the techniques that we are implementing as well. So there are a couple of innovations really focused on collecting data, etc. The innovation, the Circular Potential Innovation Platform, that is something where we bring everything all together. So in the core, we have the demonstration cases where all the captured data, either via scanning and exported into IFC, that is central, but there's also an IoT system where we can use all kind of data from all the sensors that are being applied. And there are all kind of functionalities. I'll come back to them later a bit more. So this is the overall scheme. And let me dive a bit more into detail, but not too much of those innovations. Here is, and I do not expect you, of course, to understand the scheme, because you see a lot of schemes at sustainable places. But what it mainly does, there is a user interface for the end user. And there we are using the RE Suite. I think quite some of you do know them from other projects as well. So the RE Suite, proven technology, it is used in real practice already, but we really tailor this to circular economy. We do that together with some partners in the project, but mainly with some stakeholders outside of the projects. So, for example, in the Netherlands, there is a company called Lagemaat, and they started also like demolishing, but now they say, no, we do not demolish. We are into remolition, which means they're actually buying buildings, not for the building itself, but just as a donor building. You can do it in one building, of course, and then you can translate it, or you can convert it or take parts out of it and apply it to other buildings, but it's just one building, what they're trying to set up, and they're really growing fast nowadays. What they're trying to do is to create a market with their competitors, of course, to have several donor buildings, several buildings that it can be fitted into. And they noticed the Reincarnate project, and they said, well, we fully understand this is research, but nowadays we're still doing this on Excel sheets. You hardly can believe it, but this is real practice. So when they found out not only about the scanning, the IFC, the storing, QR codes, really facilitating the process, then they said they're interested. And now we brought them also in the project and really use their practical feedback to enhance this platform and the solution. So, in my opinion, this is a very good example where we really can create impact in this way. And again, I don't expect you to fully understand this scheme, because I do not do myself either at this moment. One of the solutions or innovation, it is a robotic disassembly, and it is actually used not only to save cost, but really to increase the material recovery potential of all the building components. Again, first ambition is try to reuse the building, different function, or extend the lifetime, but if not possible, take it apart and use it again. So this is done by one of our partners, and of course, they have a simulation there, and there is a movie where they did do it in practice. And to be honest, I was not present, but looking at this very short clip, you can see it's a window frame. Well, I do not know whether the test was successful or it failed, but it is demolished here. So I think it's still working in progress. but also the previous presenter showed you some stuff. So this is really something that, for me, it's not a question, will it happen, but it's more when will it happen, and well, can we use it really in full speed. Another one, non-destructive testing, several devices, etc. Crack moisture, well, that is not an innovation in itself, but combining it with the platform, combining it with some risk assessment decision tools. There you can see, for example, using these devices that can connect to the platform. It is for crack detection, it's for moisture, all kind of criteria that will help on-site but also off-site a better assessment and to again optimize the potential of reusing all the elements. Product upgrade solutions. There are several examples in the project right now. Again, Reconciles, for example, what they did do, they were able also with the aid of Reincarnate to not only reuse flat glass, but now they're also using it for all kind of wooden constructions. And then we are not throwing away, it is not waste, but it actually, we can upgrade the solutions and reuse it in that sense. So, what I might not have said, we are halfway the project. So in the beginning, of course, we did a lot of groundwork, setting up, researching, but now everything is going to be applied for the next 2 years. And this is where we, in my opinion, really can create some impact. Also some higher level decision-making framework. I won't go into detail because I guess then I'm running out of time as well. But maybe some words to conclude. We're all in here to create impact. We have 3 clusters: scientific impact, that we do by increasing the reusability. And I've seen some familiar faces. Yesterday morning, there was also giving a presentation by Sama Rezvani, my colleague, and she explained everything about taxonomy, IFC, etc., how we can use this. If you're interested, please contact us because this is really necessary. It's a bit theoretical, it's a bit abstract, but you really need it to optimize all those different stakeholders in this process. So there we can create impact. We do release some minimum viable products, like I've mentioned before as well. Also the societal impact. Oops. There we aim at these items. And the techno-economic impact, and I guess that you understand, we being an SME in the Netherlands doing research, but mainly consultancy and providing software services. For us, of course, it is a must for the co-financing, etc., to create economic impact. And like I have explained, Lagemaat is a company, but there are more. They're really interested in it, and we are really able during the project already to incorporate it, to include it, to have good feedback, and we are already in discussion now to see how we can get to a commercial spin-off where they really can facilitate their processes. So I would say nothing is signed yet, nothing is defined, but if you're able to do halfway a project, things like that, then I think we are on the right track. But you can check me in 2 years, and then let's see what happened for real. Thank you for your time. This is it.
Thank you very much, Andre. And now, last presentation before the panel discussion. We have Dimitrios Giakoumis from the Information Technology Institute representing RoBétArmé.
Thank you. Whoops, I just closed it.
Go to the PDF, to the Adobe, sorry, yeah, there's a link.
Okay.
And then we have the workshops. Right. 25th. It's that one. And that's us.
Okay, that was easy.
Download.
So, good morning. I'm Dimitrios Giakoumis. I'm the coordinator of the RoBétArmé project. I'm a principal researcher at CERTH. CERTH is one of the biggest research centers in Greece. Now, regarding the project RoBétArmé, I don't think it's necessary. Thank you. Okay. So it's necessary. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is it possible to maybe come towards the right side? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It is just that.
So that
Okay. So, RoBétArmé project focuses on shotcreting specifically. We develop AI and robotic solutions for particularly addressing the process of shotcreting in construction. Shotcreting is common in several applications, from tunnel construction, underground mining, surface rehabilitation, and there are particular reasons to automate it. For instance, first of all, for resources conservation. It is a process that is very, let's say, fuzzy when it is being done from the workers, and there is a lot of margin for resource conservation there. There is manual quality control as it is being now executed, and also it is highly dependent on skills of the workers, and certainly has a major issue regarding health risks that can be caused during the shotcreting if the safety measures are not very properly followed. In any case, what we are doing here is we focus on human-robot collaboration, and through several advances in perception, cognition, mobility, and additive manufacturing, we try to develop our solutions. And we are in this journey 19 partners from 12 European countries, from several countries around Europe. And in essence, the project develops 2 robots. Okay, we're developing 2 robots, but of course, in order for these 2 robots to work, they need lots of AI things around them and digital twins in order to operate. The first robot concerns the reconstruction of the space. So we develop a robot to go into a space that needs shotcreting, and then it scans around the place, the environment, in order for the overall system to understand what is the environment and how this maps to the CAD, for instance, of the final outcome. Then the second robot, the first also may perform some small fixes there in the environment if necessary, and then the second robot, the one of the shotcreting, comes in order to perform the shotcreting. To address, to develop these 2 robots and all the technologies that are needed, we have these key 5 objectives, which relate to the cognitive robot platforms, advanced infrastructure perception system for the overall, the robots and the overall system, human-robot collaboration control schemes, advanced modeling tools, and cognitive digital twin and simulation environments. Here you can see an overview of how the process is now with the workers and how we envision this process with the 2 robots that are performing this task, and the workers don't need to perform the actual shotcreting, but they only need to collaborate with the robots in order for the robots to perform the hard part of the work. We have 4 use cases: construction of ground support walls, repair of piles and beams, repair of post-station boxes, and construction of tunnels and culverts. And at the moment, we have developed already several of the technologies of the project. First of all, regarding the digitalization tools for construction site understanding and modeling, we have also our own pipelines for scan to beam. Then on top of that, at CERTH, and this is a particular job that we are doing at CERTH, we have developed a tool in order to perform the volumetric modeling of what needs to be done in order for what the robot has understood around it to be eventually the final outcome. So we take the CAD of the space as we actually want it to be after the job. We compare this to the scanned outcome, and in this way, we take the difference in essence, and we have the volumetric modeling of how much shotcrete we need to put where. Then this is translated into the robot planning, and then the robot can perform the overall task. So this is a very, very important aspect of the project, which relates to digital twins, and it comes, let's say, on top of the typical scan-to-beam approaches. Of course, further to this process, one aspect that I really need to mention here concerns the human-robot collaboration, where also the digital twin is very important in our case. When for instance, the operator wants to understand better what the robot is doing, what is the state of the environment, what is the state of the process as the robot works, the digital twin and in particular the AR tools that we are developing, the augmented reality tools that we are developing in order to help the operator understand better, is a very nice tool for them. For instance, you can imagine the operator seeing overlaid the information of the final CAD compared to the place as it is right now, and to gain an understanding as the robot is working, what exactly the robot is doing. Because also here we have a turbid environment. We have an environment with too much dust, and where you cannot see very well if you are at a distance what the robot is doing, because much of dust in some cases of shotcreting is there. So through the AR tools, which are empowered by the digital twins and the models of the environment, again, we can have a better understanding for the operator to know what the state of the process is. Now, of course, in order for the robots to operate, they need really good algorithms in terms of perception and cognition to understand what they are doing and how their actions are affecting the world, and then have this into a closed loop in order for them to refine their actions. This is something that we are also doing in the project. And finally, these are the platforms that are now being built. We actually have this, the initial versions of these prototypes. In our good partners in Denmark, in SEAS, we have a test bed where it is being developed now as the final test bed in order to be able to test everything in all of the use cases there. And these robotic platforms are now being developed. The robotic arm that you see on top will be integrated together with the robot on the left, which will be the SFR robot, the shotcreting robot. It is a heavyweight robotic arm, as of course shotcreting entails lots of significant forces that need to be sustained. So that's all from my presentation. Thank you very much, and happy to discuss later.
Thank you. Now I invite all the speakers to the stage. We have 2 extra chairs, so no worries. So please, everyone, join. Another round of applause for all the speakers. Great presentation. And joining them is also Ariana Verga from INCUBE and RINA Consulting, and our moderator is Fernando Sigchos from the European Builders Confederation. So, we have one there.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Now we are entering indeed the panel discussion, and we have 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of questions, so I will talk fast and I will make it very, very short. My name is Fernando Sigchos Jimenez. I'm the Secretary General of the European Builders Confederation. For those that do not know EBC, we are the employer organization representing micro, small, and construction companies in Europe. So today everything is about collaboration and innovation. Let's not forget that this session was also steered by a cluster called the Tech for Construction cluster that gathers the projects around the table. And and in that sense, the idea is, of course, to showcase how projects can collaborate beyond the grant agreement prerequisite. That sometimes is you have to collaborate with your sister and sister projects. Here, it's really a genuine attempt to exchange a bit further the information. We have the lineup. You know the speakers. We don't need to go through introductions again. I will start and kick off things with a very, let's say, a question that will require a very short answer for everyone, so that we do the other way around. Usually we ask people to tell us what they would like in a short sentence for us to keep with us after the session. We will start with that so that we are sure that time is not an enemy here. So my question is, in one short sentence, how is your project contributing to what we call the twin transition of the construction sector, the digital and green transition? In a very concise sentence, if you may.
As for INCUBE, we focus on the digitalization, doing everything in BIM as much as possible. And in the green transition, we also focus on using sustainable materials.
Yes, thank you. So from HumanTech side, okay, we work on different application. Each one has their own interest for the construction, but I would say that the basis of everything is the scan to BIM. So we need to be able to create these BIM models at any time during construction with rich information, and that is the essence of digitalization, I think, in construction.
Yes. For RoBétArmé project, we have a very specific orientation to robotics and human-robot collaboration, but in this scope, it is very important for us to reduce the environmental footprint of the process. This process, as I said, it is a very rough process, and we try to reduce its environmental footprint, along, of course, with several AI and digital tools that are being built in order to support all this transition into automation in this particular area that we are, but of course this can be applied also to several further areas, several of the solutions that we are developing.
BEEYONDERS relies on digital twins that replicate the use cases that are the 6 use cases of the project, and at the end this will allow to further analysis and simulation of the different use cases to optimize and make resource consumption more efficient across the different use cases.
You asked to be short, Fernando. Reincarnate makes circular construction feasible.
Thank you. Okay, I need to file a system, but then again, very quickly, I mean, we all know, we're all familiar with European projects, and here my second question would be then to go beyond the technological development. I would like to understand what is your strategy for the operational implementation, in that sense that how are you shaping your projects in a way that it really reaches the operational actors in construction? We do know that the construction ecosystem is made up of very small construction companies. What is your strategy to have your technology or innovation reach them?
We, as Van Wijnen, are a general contractor, so this is our core business, bringing the whole value chain together. It is different when applying newly found innovations, but we conduct this day in, day out, hands-on. So we are the ones that actually implementing it, and this is what we do normally.
So in HumanTech, first of all, we have 5 different pilots of different use cases with different actors in every case, and in many of them, actually real users, real construction workers or engineers will be involved. And also, of course, we have EBC as a partner.
In RoBétArmé project, first of all, we involve companies who know the job. We really listen to them. This is a very important thing that we also tried from the coordination side to have from the beginning of the project, to have a very clear understanding what they are doing, how they see the innovations that we want to develop and how these things can be practically applied. So we follow a very, very practical approach into these innovations, and we try to develop things that are really useful for them in a way that this is useful. A very recent example is the interfaces for working with a robot, where, developers were developing, not very nice things, but we were saying, the actual end users will see, those operators will see how they will use these robots. So we really made further iterations again and again, and we now have very good designs which are focusing exactly on what the operators want. So we really, really listen to the end users in order to have very, very important value developed for them from the project.
From our side, we are working with the local value chains in the different pilot cases, so that is something that contributes to the further adoption of the solutions that are developed within the project. And also speaking about our work, we develop a very in-depth analysis of the state of the art and the market outlook of the different technologies that we have involved in the BEEYONDERS project, which will help us with the next steps also for exploitation and replication of the results of the project.
I think this time my answer is slightly longer than last one, and my answer is twofold. So how do we make sure that stuff will be implemented, will be used after or maybe beyond the scope of the DOA? So like I mentioned, this example of Lagemaat, for example, we're going to contact, and they are facing problems now already. So what we are doing, integrating some of their problems, integrating in use cases that we are still going to facilitate and develop functionalities. Like, for example, digital ticket tracking, like very easy to use scanning codes, QR, etc., identify in BIM models, following the entire chain. So that is something that will be used, that will be needed, and that we can, during the project, already integrate. So that's one thing. The other thing that I would like to mention is, as I've been explaining, our company is developing the RE suite that is being used for many years already by customers like a housing association whatsoever. And for example, one of the applications in this suite is RE maintenance, multi-year maintenance planning. And you can do it in a traditional way, but you also can add already functionalities related to circular economy. So they're getting it for free, I would say. They're getting it maybe without even knowing, and that is also how you can integrate or implement it in existing processes.
Thank you. I have now a few questions that are more project focused, but I'm pretty sure you might have questions. So before I enter and ask them the questions we prepare and we're discussing in the preparation phase, I would like to know if anyone here has a specific question to a specific project.
To a specific project, or can we ask a question to everyone? Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So those were really interesting presentations. So my question is, in your robotics projects and digital twin, most of the projects focused on the sustainability aspect. For example, circularity, integration of things to improve efficiency, safety, etc., etc. So my question is, how can you use robots to reduce construction, demolition, and maintenance time? So what is your idea and perspective? So do you aim anything for this? As far as I know, there is only one project, so that's why I want you to evaluate on this.
Anyone wanting to start, or we do the same round as from the beginning?
Yeah, like we said in our presentation, we have already deployed 2 types of robots, actual robots, and we did this to enhance safety, because safety is always #1 priority on our construction sites. We think it's very important for every carpenter, every bricklayer to get home safe. It is a difficult situation now because it has some, you want to orchestrate the actual working of the persons who are not involved with the robots, but they're still they're still working around the robots. So it's difficult to operate this in a tight construction site, as this is a renovation project we are doing. But in the future, we definitely see the use of robots. Also because of less people just want to be working on the construction site. So we actually have to move towards this. So with the help of INCUBE and of our project, we get the opportunity to test this and improve the type of robots. So either way, we're going to move towards it, we think.
So your question was how to improve, how to reduce time through robotics. Yeah. So I will try to draw one example from what I showed for HumanTech. So we have a robot that is able to bring bricks to the worker, to the bricklayer. So in that case, I think this efficiency thing can be unlocked through collaboration. So having such a robot assistant for a worker allows him to spend more time doing the work that corresponds to his capabilities, basically, and reduce a bit the more mundane tasks, like bring the bricks to the place, moving them around, and so on. So he can focus on actually doing the things he's good at, which is placing the bricks.
Maybe then a side question, because I remember your presentation. So what percentage of time efficiency do you think that you can gain by placing the sensors on the human body, etc.?
So that's a different use case. So the sensors on the human body are more for tracking their pose and seeing if they have a healthy pose during their work. So it's mainly to prolong their ability to work and to be healthy and to be at work. So yeah, that's a different area, I would say.
If I may quickly. Representing small construction companies, having your workers being tracked on their productivity, I'm not sure is something that will sell their uptake of any technology. So here my understanding is that indeed the support to help and alleviate certain tasks and allow them to do what they master best is a bit the approach. But I will give you the floor for the question on the productivity, on the time that you help reduce.
The answer is very simple. In some way, but very complex in another. The simple answer is that you cannot put a robot in such a complex environment and expect for that robot to operate faster than a human. The simple answer. The more complex answer is that when you put the robot in specific tasks, which can be done fast by a robot there, then you can gain time. Okay? So, in other words, you need to find the optimal balance between the humans and the robots and their collaboration in order to have a really impactful process in terms of gaining time. Because when you increase the complexity of where you put the robot, you need to have more advanced algorithms that there are now in order for the robots to operate more efficiently. When these algorithms are there, then of course, these robots will be able to save more time. But now these are first steps in order to understand the feasibility and what can be done. And of course, there are side aspects that can be used here in order to gain a better understanding. That, the fact that, of course, there is a worker shortage, so you can increase the manpower that you have artificially with robotic systems and have people, when you have one worker collaborating with 10 robots, then you can increase the productivity, so you have a saving in time. And also, in terms of the time that these robots can work, which can be very, very much extended. So there are aspects to consider, and this is certainly not a very simple discussion.
From our side, we have, from the Beyonder point of view, we have a very illustrative example in the tunnel construction, because of course, whenever explosives are used, the conditions are not appropriate for workers to be in the actual tunnel doing their work. So using drones, using machinery, we can of course analyze the condition within the working site and then optimize when workers can really step in and continue with their actual work within the tunnel. So this is a good example. Metrics, to my knowledge, are not available yet, but this is part of the conclusions that we expect to reach as a project.
Well, there's a lot been said already. I'm not going to repeat it all, but I agree with quite some remarks that are mentioned already. First of all, I'm not the expert because I even mow my lawn myself. Well, nowadays that's quite old-fashioned, I would say. There's robot for that. And also in the consortium, we have specialized companies to do so. But on the other end, I think some answers are quite simple and they do not relate to techniques or robotics at all. So, for example, in the Netherlands, by Dutch law, you're allowed to work 8 hours. So if you could increase that full continue by using robots, you already have a factor 3 of increasement, which is you're reducing lead time, etc. Another example, safety is very important, of course. So let's assume if you have a wall climbing robot, and that's something that we are using or trying or experimenting with in Reincarnate, then you don't need the scaffolding, etc. So that also saves time and money, etc. So I think it's not always really in can we do it more fast, etc. But there's more things to it that also influence the business case.
Thank you very much. I will take another question from the floor, but I already had a candidate at the back, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much for very interesting presentations. I come from Montreal, Canada, École de Technologie Supérieure, and have some research projects around these topics. And one of them is about the safety regulations on construction sites in respect to mobile autonomous robots. So I just ask, does this regulation exist here in Europe? Because it doesn't yet in Canada. If somebody can answer. Thank you.
Yeah. Are you sure it works for online? Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if anyone wants to take the question about, let's say, the rules that are applicable to your robotics research or the legislative framework that limits maybe to your extent. There we go.
That's an answer.
Yeah, okay, but I think you have already a kind of orientation there to the question. As it went very fast, I'm going to take the question from the colleague.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentations. We've seen a lot of digitalization efforts, so that's a very good progress on your part. I was wondering if you could tell us each a bit about the scientific methodologies that you use for sustainability assessment and for circularity in particular, if you are using them or if you know about them.
This time I will start from this side of the table. Yeah, maybe this one because for those in the middle it's fine, but for you I'm not sure.
I was afraid so, Fernando, that you would be starting with me. Although I'm coordinating this project, I'm not an expert on all the scientific methodologies on that. What might be a good recommendation, because this afternoon there's another presentation about Reincarnate in another workshop, there it will be touched more into detail. And also Sama Razvani, who is taking care of this part, she can really elaborate on that. So you can do it on bilateral talk, or all of you can talk to Sama, but I'm not able myself to give all the details about the used methodologies. However, what I can say, the website, etc., all the stuff that we have been researching and publishing, that is available there. And we also have communities of practice, so there you could also find some answers.
It's a similar situation on my side, not an expert myself, but what I can say is that we've been integrating all the metrics within the digital twins, and that, of course, the workers or indicators related to the well-being of workers are also integrated as part of the sustainability assessment, covering all the dimensions of sustainability as a whole. And this is a work that our partner Technalia and our partner Icons have been developing all together as part of our work plan, and I'll be pleased on sharing more details after the session, of course, on this.
Yes, in our case, this is not a task done by CERTH, so it is not that I can provide you specific details, but of course, we start from the material itself in our analysis, and we take into account how are these materials built and what is their environmental footprint. And we move on through to the process and eventually to the human workers, etc. So it is a process that, a task that undertakes all the cycle and everything that is there, with particular emphasis, as I said, starting again from the materials that are now being used. We have specific tasks there which are dedicated to developing new materials which are perhaps more proper for shotcreting and at the same time adding to sustainability.
Yeah, I would have to agree here. Circular economy and sustainability is not really the main focus of the project, and I think that it's a question maybe of a bit higher TRLs in some cases. So you need to have more developed technology in order to be able to evaluate it according to these aspects. I think this is something that will be done towards the end, separately for every pilot, from the partners that worked on that specific use case, because it's a very diverse set of topics that we're addressing.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not going to add as much either. We're a construction company, so we follow the we follow the scientific outlines laid down by, for example, our partner CERTH. We are also working with CERTH, but we agree with this question. We always look into the market and also beyond INCUBE to see what's the actual definition and how can we actually put this into figures. We're still at the forefront, we think so. Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in all the answers.
I understand, but it also shows to a certain extent that maybe there is still a lot to improve in the way we understand and include the parameters existing, because they might be very, very technical. I have 2 questions and I have 8 minutes. So I will ask you to be extremely short because I also need to ask a very final question.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for the presentations. Really impressive results, I have to say. I am Rita Lavikka from VTT, Technical Research Center of Finland. I noticed, because I have a specific question to Beyonders, and I noticed that VTT is part of that, so probably I should know, but I don't. So you mentioned this one-stop shop. So I got interested, like, will that be like some online service, or is that like the place where you will find all the data-driven solutions?
We are still exploring all the potential routes to define what this single window would look like, and how we can really make it sustainable in the long term. So what we did so far is just a workshop with partners to understand what is the value proposition of this single window for the digitalization of the construction industry, and understand what would be the potential sustainability models. That it's something that we've prepared on our own. I was not confident enough to present it today, but of course we have our own ideas as a project. And this is why, and if I have the opportunity to highlight the importance of joint forces to develop something like this and establish something like this, because we do not want to create another standalone environment. We really want to integrate all the commitments and all the results as a project to promote and to gain visibility of the project achievements as part of another network, as part of another environment. So this is why I take the opportunity to highlight the interest of this being beyond the Beyonders EU-funded projects or the Tech4EU cluster, because we really want this to be available for the stakeholder and the value chain.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take a very final question from the floor, then we're getting very close to the end.
Thank you, and maybe it's just a yes or no answer. I think we have a challenge to remain competitive in this sector because war drives innovation, and the comment on tunnels and explosives. So now with the war in Ukraine, there are some scenarios and there's some innovation that's happening that's really pushing the sector in this field. So we have the luxury of looking at certain types of topics. They have the necessity to look at others. I was just curious if anyone's taking any inspiration, or if there are any channels open with Ukraine or the defense sector to essentially stay competitive, probably because the money and the activities that are happening there are probably happening at a fast rate. So I was just curious if anyone had any channels open or was looking in that direction for inspiration about topics that are occurring at a very quick rate.
about international collaboration. The two projects we are involved in, I think, have a word to say, but I don't know if anyone else wants to intervene.
No, we don't. Sorry, no, we don't ourselves. No.
Same here. We're not interested in military applications.
Yeah, the same goes for.
We may imagine some potential to transfer the technologies, but at first this is something that has not been considered.
For us, it's slightly different because we just finished a project with two partners from Ukraine. So this project was actually it started before the Russian invasion and it continued during it. We just closed it like 3 months ago. So we are not now in contact with military or whatsoever, but with Ukraine partners. And to be honest, and that's maybe a bit of a soft answer, but really seeing the drive and the persistence and the way to continue, that was not only inspiring for us, but really for the consortium. And we agreed this project is finished, but we will continue to work with them.
If I may add a quick word on that, as you know, recently the European Commission has created a new structure, and one of the new commissioners, and this is a first, will be dedicated to defense matters. So I guess this is also a hint of what could be, let's say, political guidelines for the future that might at some point resonate with the research you conduct. Okay, a very tiny window of time to close this. I'm going back to, let's say, the very beginning of the session, the Tech4EU construction cluster. What I would like to ask you as a final question is what is the potential of having this kind of clustering exercise for exchange of information, but also in a way to keep your project alive beyond, let's say, the project life cycle, because from what I heard, the level of maturity of the project is very diverse, which means that certain are done, certain are in the middle, are about to be done, certain might be a bit more in early stages. But this collaborative process, how do you see it as an added value today and how it could evolve in the future?
I think it's a benefit that every project is in a different maturity stage because we can learn from each other, we can use, etc. So let's please not reinvent the wheel. I think it's a very obvious answer from my side. Specializing for this project on circular economy, you simply cannot do it yourself. You need others because otherwise there is no circularity. So initiatives like this, and not only seeing now these faces and contact, and it should not be going via us, but also like all the consortium members, but they're already running activities now. And of course, we would like to continue that. And I know it's easy to say during congresses like this, yeah, we should do it, and tomorrow we have other stuff on our plate, but the project continues. And if you really make sure also to send this message within our projects, and especially the dissemination and the exploitation related partners, they're in contact as far as I know, so that's, I think, essential to do so.
I think that all these projects give us a good opportunity and a safe environment to collaborate and not compete among us. So, so as far as we keep the good relationship and we envision this environment, not repeating myself, but envisioning this collaborative environment in the future to showcase all of our results and keep them available in the future for its usage. I would say that we can rely a lot on the synergies that we've been establishing during the EU-funded period of the projects.
I totally agree with those two, and since I agree and I don't have much to add in this respect, I will tell you a small story. In the first workshop that was done with the cluster, I was organizing the agenda and I was thinking what would be meaningful for projects that are starting to discuss all together. So I brought on one side the end users to describe from all the projects what are the challenges that they need to address from their project in order for all of us to understand what also the others are thinking, because each project has its own end users, its own use cases, but it is a very good thing to broaden the perspective that we have. And on the other side, I brought the technological, some of the research partners to discuss the challenges that they are considered they will be facing while trying to develop the solution. So it was a very nice kickoff in this sense, that workshop back in, I don't know, I don't remember now what was the year. And also from that day, it is a very nice thing to see how the projects are evolving, and from the use cases and those considerations that we were making in the first time that we met, now how we're progressing. And of course, to conclude, I'm very, very happy every time that we meet and we see what the other projects are doing, and I really hope to have further collaborations beyond these projects and so on.
Thanks. Yeah, to keep it very short, I think it's about building a critical mass in order to be influential. That's what the cluster is about.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here among all the Tech for You projects, because we always have this kind of the same subject, but we still have a different focus. So we also work on scan to BIM, and then seeing HumanTech being at the forefront of applying the AI version of building the BIM model out of the scan. Looks very interesting to us as well. So stuff like that we could definitely collaborate on in the future, maybe. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the replies. I'm having a look at my chair of the session. I think our time is done. So thank you very much for participating. I hope you found this interesting, and another clap for our colleagues.